What are some of the challenges that you've experienced while working on cruise ships, specific to your job, but also in general? And how did you deal with them or overcome those challenges that you experienced?
That's a good question. I have to say that ship life in general is not for everyone. There are some people who try it and it's just not for them. I had no problem adjusting to ship life. It felt normal to me. I liked it. It was good. So there's just something about it that you can't really explain to people, until you go and you do that first contract and you go, oh, what this is ship life. There's just this nuance that it can't really be put into words in a general sense of the way it's a different world, right? It's just totally different from what anybody experiences on land. So that's just kind of one thing to keep in mind in general, that if it's not for you, it's not for you. It doesn't mean that there's nothing wrong with you. It's just that, it's not for everybody.
Right.
I would say, kind of what I discussed when our tech friend asked us the question, there are definitely expectations of you outside of the realm of your profession. That might not be specific duties. You might be a dancer for a celebrity and you do a safety briefing and that's it, which is great. However, you still work where you live.
Are you interested in learning the 7 alarming things that cruise ship contracts are hiding in the fine print? Go to shiplifetv.com/contract secrets and find out for free. Because one of the biggest problems that I see with new hires is that they don't know what they're signing up for. And they show up on day one and they're expected to know everything that's in a 6-page legal contract. So go to shiplifetv.com/contract secrets to watch almost an hour's worth of free content where I break down a 6-page contract and you can learn everything that you need to about vacation, schedule, pay, overtime, benefits, and so much more. That's shiplifetv.com/contract secrets to become a member of the Shiplife TV community and get free access to the crew library. Now back to the video.
I don't know about you, but anytime we were in guest area, we had to have our name tag on, in addition to following rules about ways to dress and have your hair and things like that. So, with the exception of you being in your sweats in some crew areas, which are limited for most small ships, I think we had crew bar, and other than the mess, that was pretty much it. Mm-hmm. You're always at work, right? So people sometimes don't understand, when I've never had a 9-to-5. I don't know if you've ever had a 9-to-5, but it's still different when you have a gig on land where, whether it's a theater gig or a corporate gig, you're going home at the end of the day. That's not a thing on ships. Right. You're going to the hallway with everybody that you just worked with and ate dinner with and took your makeup off with and then cleaned costumes with and then had a beer with in crew bar. And sometimes even the same room, because most performers, unless you're a singer or singer-dancer, is sharing a room. So, yes, you're never going to get along with everybody that you work with in any scenario. You don't have to be besties. However, it is a heightened experience working on a cruise ship because of the close quarters and the fact that your home is where you live. So, that customer service face is always on. You might want to just go have a drink at the bar with your friend or go enjoy your friend singing at the piano bar, and you have people coming up to you and wanting a picture and asking a question. And some people love that, and that's great. Some people don't do well with that, so maybe they don't go up to guest area as much. But it is just something to keep in mind and something that, you might have to adjust to. I worked in the hospitality industry prior to that. I had done a contract on a show in a resort, so it was kind of like a warm-up to that lifestyle. But yeah, other than that, it's not something, like I said, I feel like you can explain. I feel like you got to go, you got to do it. Yes, there are definitely parts of the job where you get annoyed, especially as a performer. I have heard you talk about this, and I watched your other video with the other singer dancer about, how crew doesn't like you or talks about you or you don't work and this and that. Uh-huh. And that's really annoying as a performer, especially because you get it at home too. Yeah. You have acquaintances or friends who aren't in the industry and like, oh, you're on vacation for a living. And it's like, really? Like, yeah. So, you're not on vacation for a living. However, it can be an absolutely incredible experience, and you can see the world and get paid for it. And you're doing what you're supposed to be or want to be doing. You're making really good money for the most part. So as long as you find the right line for you. I think that's important. I know beggars can't be choosers, especially in this climate. A job is a job, a gig is a gig. But if it's something that you're looking to do continuously or long term, do the research, talk to people. You know, ship people I think are into talking about Shiplife. That's why I reached out to you. You know, it's not. It's a lot more out there now, but when I was starting in 2015 and I YouTubed what I thought it was, you know, to help me to find out what it was going to be like, there wasn't a lot.
That's right.
So it's easier now with Instagram and social media. Just reach out to people and get an idea of what each line has to offer and what might be the best for you. But just be prepared that it's going to be a different world.
Yeah, absolutely. I like your commentary on having the right expectations, and I think that's really important. And that's something that whenever I have like personal conversations with people about the challenges of working on cruise ships, and number one, I think it's important to also call them challenges, not so much like cons, because it's like if you walk in with the right expectations, then it won't necessarily be a con per se. It's all just part of the job. But you know, and this is why I started this channel in the first place. You know, because when you said that you wanted to look up some stuff back in 2015. I started in 2016. Yeah, it was the same thing. It's just, I wanted to know what to expect, and when you have no expectations, that's when your mind starts to wander, and then you start doing these things, and you had nothing to compare it to. Yeah. So that's why a lot of people are going crazy right now, because they don't know what to expect in terms of the hiring climate.
And I do think it is good to reach out to people or to do things like this, like, you know, watch your channel, listen to your podcast, because I do know that there's a history of companies not totally being clear about what they expect from you either. And I've had a lot of people get on board and be shell shocked with the hours they're working or the duties they're expected to do because it wasn't laid out for them. And you go on thinking you have realistic expectations and then being like, whoa, I wasn't told any of this. So yeah, talk to people who've done it for sure so that you can find out what it's going to be like.
Absolutely. So with that being said, just to kind of wrap everything up here, I do agree that it's important to take in a lot of information. And again, not just from my channel, like I have a very limited view of what my perspective is because I was on ships as a musician. But this is why, you know, we have the podcast and we talk, but also check out other people's podcasts and their channels because they have very different views and perspectives as well. And you want to take in all of those perspectives and create your own so that when you go, you have this broad view of what working on cruise ships is like. You said you're going to be on a podcast next week. Whose channel was that?
Lady Red.
Lady Red.
I think she might be on Spotify. But yes, so she is Lady Red Live on social media.
Cool.
And her, she was our piano bar entertainer who was like #1 in our fleet for a very, very long time. She's awesome at what she does. And she is in Australia now, home for the first time in a very long time because she jumped from ship to ship because she was a hot commodity and started this podcast called You're Not Your Talent. So
that sounds interesting.
Check her out. Yeah.
All right. Well, shout out to Lady Red. I'll reach out to her and see what she's got going on.
Yes, for sure.
But other than that, I know some of you guys have some questions, but we are going to wrap up. If you have any other questions, you can reach out to me. Let's see if I can do this right. This way. You can reach out to me on my Instagram, Shiplife TV. Carly's is right there. If you want to reach out to her directly.
Anytime.
And so with that being said, again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you're watching this after the fact, thanks so much for watching. Again, Shiplife TV, the show that's dedicated to raising awareness of the opportunity of working on cruise ships and helping new and existing crew have an enjoyable experience. If you like it. If you want to see more, subscribe. And Carly, thank you again for taking the time to help these people out and give them some great advice.
Anytime. Thank you so much for having me.